How come star of the solar system has become a threat? How it could lead to a mass extinction which will include humans, and how it is causing a double stress coupled with climate change. Sun, which is the ultimate facilitator of life on Earth, could become the reason of its destruction as well. Space weather experts have warned a catastrophic space storm, geostorm, could wipe out 90% humanity, that too in coming next 10 to 15 years. Hello everyone, welcome to Vajram and Ravi's Flash News. My name is Shubhangi Singh, and today we are going to understand this threat from the sun in detail. We'll be also looking into the key terms that you need to understand from the perspective of exam, and then we will understand that is there a possibility that Earth can build some sort of resilience and how it is a double stress coupled with climate change. So let us begin with understanding that what exactly is the threat. Before I get into explaining the threat, let us understand two phenomena. First is the micronova. So when we talk about micronova is nothing but a sudden solar explosion that takes place, and because of this explosion that happens, there is a release of plasma, radiation as well as magnetic energy. So when we are talking about solar storms or solar winds coming from the sun, basically sun is ejecting that material, charged particle at a high speed, but micronova is a bigger version of that, and this takes place usually between 6 to 12,000 years every time. So in this duration, this occurrence takes place. Now if we talk about this whole phenomena, it is due any time to take place. Furthermore, if we talk about the second phenomena, that is geostorm. So when we are talking about geostorm is nothing but when charged particles are ejected from the sun at a high speed, they are colliding with Earth's magnetic field. So charged particles are ejected from the sun and they collide with Earth's magnetic field, which leads to formation of auroras at our nearby, which leads to formation of auroras especially at our poles. Can you tell me the two types of auroras that we are seen to exist as of now? So because of these phenomena, we are expecting this threat. Now let us understand the threat. Now that we have understood both of the phenomena, now let us get into the detail that how come we are at threat by these two phenomena as of now. So when we are talking about this particular timing, the first thing that you have to understand here is that we are already in a middle of geostorm, as the space weather experts have warned, and the whole devastation that it is being predicted for can take place anytime. But let us understand the timing why now. The first comes from the micronova timing that usually takes place between 6,000 to 12,000 years each time. Second reason the timing seems as of now is that sun is operating in currently highly active phase. So what do we mean by highly active phase? Basically there is a 11-year solar cycle in which the sunspot activity increases or decreases. So this is the time when there is maximum solar activity which is being seen. And the third thing that is coming in as a factor is the fact that Earth's magnetic field is weakening as of now because of the pole shifts that are occurring, and the pole shifts are happening because of the geostorm that we are seeing at present. Can you tell me in the comment section how geostorm is related to poles shifting? Now this is not the first time that we are seeing such a phenomena. Back in 1859 there has been a Carrington event in which we saw that telegraph wires that had caught fire, communication had collapsed, such a huge solar storm had taken place back then. Now the whole idea, Solar storm is something that keeps happening, but it is related to the amount of plasma that is being released. So if it is huge amount of plasma, it can definitely cause a lot of damage on Earth that we will be understanding from here on. So if we are seeing at 1859 where technology was limited, that time wires caught fire, communication lines were disrupted. If this time a big geostorm sets in, modern tech can get destroyed at a huge scale. Now let us understand the destruction that can take place if we are talking about such a huge geostorm. The first thing that would be in the line of exposure is the satellite as well as spacecraft electronics that are existing. It will also affect the aviation, it will affect the GPS signals, it is going to affect Earth's magnetic field and weaken it, and also affect power generation at all terms. Furthermore, the effects will be seen not just on pipelines but on submarine cables. All in all, the lifeline of the humanity that is running would be at threat when we are talking about strong geostorm that is due at any time, as it has been warned by space weather experts as of now. Now, when we are talking about the direct impact on technology and services, as I have already mentioned that it is going to knock out the satellites, power grids can collapse, and it will also affect the flights and navigation. But if you talk about how we are talking about that 90% of humanity will be wiped out, there will be a mass extinction that will take place. It will happen because if this storm is strong enough, within 3 days, there will be no fuel in pumps, there will be no foods in the store. Within coming 15 days, supply chains, water treatment and healthcare systems might break down because of the collapse of modern tech, and that is what will lead to a huge impact on the humankind itself. Apart from that, certain amount of impact will also be seen on the planet. First, we will have a weakened magnetic field. That means our shield which protects us from solar storms will be weakened, and the radiation that is coming, solar radiation, all forms UVA, B, all of them would be reaching the surface and we will remain exposed to it. In generality, when the solar storm is not that strength, then in usual days, it does not affect us humans, but in this scenario, we are at exposure itself. Another thing that would be found is pole shift will take place, solar energy would be at a high, it would lead to direct climate instability, and there are predictions that there will be mega tsunamis that will be taking place, leading to destruction of life on our planet as well. And in the worst case scenario, if all of this comes together, we might be seeing a 90% population loss, which can be another mass extinction that Earth is going to see in its history. Can you tell me in the comment section how many mass extinctions as of now Earth has seen in the whole geological period as of now? Now the situation looks grim because the predictions are of that the 90% of humanity would be wiped out. But the question is, can we be protected? Can there be something that can be done to protect humanity from all of this destruction that we are talking about? In this scenario, we have to understand, yes, there is certain amount of resilience that we can build, be it in form of power grids which can surge the protection, hardened satellites which are protected from the radiation. We can also establish early warning systems, especially for solar storms, that can be done with the help of space agencies, be it NASA, ISRO, ESA, which will help in the monitoring and understand if there is a bigger solar storm that is coming in. We might need to understand how badly it might impact us. Furthermore, governments across the world need to be prepared for emergency, because this is a disaster and the preparedness for disaster is the one which lessens its impact. So in terms of stockpiling for food, fuel and medical supplies where a natural disaster is being predicted, all of this needs to be addressed. This is something in our control and we might need this to be protected. But at the same time, certain things are beyond our control. We cannot control the solar activity or the solar storms that are taking place, or in case it is going to be a solar explosion, that is micronova. We cannot also help the magnetic pole shift that is expected. That means the disasters that will come as a consequence of this cannot be helped. But at the same time, preparedness can be done so that there is a limited system collapse, there is a limited panic, people are aware and prepared, and at least the basic essential services are available to the mankind across the globe. Now coming to an important question, when we are talking about such a huge disaster where we are talking about people being wiped out, it is logical to think that it is related to climate change. But I would like to bring to your notice here that no, it is not related to climate change, but the problem is climate change does exist, and this disaster clubbed with climate change is a double stress and is a call for double disaster itself. So when we are talking about a situation where anthropologically we are finding that the climate crisis is existing on our planet, rising amount of greenhouse gases are leading to global warming, floods, wildfires, droughts, and extreme and erratic weather that we are seeing. And adding to this, solar threat that is lying in front of us multiplies the risk beyond our imagination. That means this climate crisis clubbed with solar threat is a double stress that lies in front of us, and in this scenario, fragile ecosystems, economies, and the mankind could collapse faster, which is a worrisome situation at the given point. So if we talk about the risk that is at hand, that is about extinction in a decade or 15 years, or if we talk about the climate crisis, it is going to bring the extinction in next 250 million years. But the question is, here is something that we cannot do at all, but climate crisis, we have it in our hands. As a mankind, we can still take steps and make sure that the long-term addressal of the climate crisis at our hand takes place. That is the only thing that remains in our hand. In the end, I would like to leave you with a question. What are the global efforts that have concretized and delivered in terms of when we are talking about addressing the climate crisis? You can let me know in the comment section. That was all from my side. Thank you so much.